and welcome to the biggest little soccer podcast on the internet. It's Stateside Footy, and holy shit, do we have ourselves a banger tonight, boys. The U.S. men's national team has dropped their 26-man roster for the upcoming friendlies against Canada and New Zealand. We're going to get into that. Obviously, it is Sunday night, so therefore it is Yanks abroad. So we're also going to go over some of those names that apply their trade overseas, and we're going to let you know how their weekend was. A lot of good shit that we're going to get into tonight. But before we do, go ahead and smash the like and subscribe button, and we'll get underway. If you want to be a part of tonight's broadcast, all you have to do is drop by the comment section, like this guy, Soccer Satan, who says, yeah, we're not getting Poch. So negative, Satan. So negative. And yes, we are. There is some things that are going on between the U.S. Soccer Federation and Chelsea. Chelsea still owns Poch money. And Chelsea is like, well, since you're taking a new job, we don't want to pay you, but that's not how it works. A contract is a contract. Both parties obviously agreed to this, but Chelsea still owes them money. So that still has to be worked in. Now, the weird thing is I actually thought this was going to be announced on Friday. It just kind of had that cool little feeling. That didn't happen, and I thought it was going to be announced today. That didn't happen, but I would probably assume that it's going to get done sometime in September. It will get done. It's taken a little longer than I personally would have liked. But yes, Poch is definitely coming. But, all right. So the U.S. men's national team has dropped its roster for these upcoming friendlies. And in some ways it was predictable, and then other ways there's some names on this list that make absolutely no sense. And we're going to start with goalkeepers. They're carrying 4. That's right, they're carrying 4 goalkeepers. The big name on the list is Diego Cochin, and I actually like this because they're carrying 2 young goalkeepers for these friendlies. Cochin's one of them. Patrick Schulte, obviously, probably the best young American goaltender in Major League Soccer. I'm okay with both of these. I'm really happy about Diego Cochin, who applies his trade for Barca B, which plays in the 3rd tier of the Spanish division, the 3rd tier of Spanish football. But here's the weird thing, right? They're bringing Matt Turner, who literally just got dealt to Crystal Palace. Now he goes from playing absolutely no football for the first 3 weeks of the season with Nottingham Forest, gets his move, but now he's the backup at Crystal Palace. Now, he's not going to be getting regular English Premier League minutes, but when the squad rotates, when it comes to cup matches, you'll probably see him take the field. So, you know what they say, right? Slow dough is better than no dough, for show. So at least he's going to be getting some of that slow dough. And, of course, if form dips, then he might actually have a shot at starting. But they're carrying Matt Turner. But here's the questionable one. They're also taking Ethan Horvath as well, too, who this last weekend did play a full 90, gave up 2 goals to Middlesbrough. And, of course, Ethan Horvath, I'm sure everybody has seen the highlights from the opening week of the championship where he let one of the most embarrassing goals through. I was not expecting 4. I was expecting 3. And if you wanted to take either one of them, Turner or Horvath, that's fine. The name that was excluded was Gabriel Slonina. And let me tell you, dude, he's pissed off. That dude went straight to Twitter and let it be known that he was not happy about it. I think he posted like one of those like "Stay Strong" type of memes. But that being said, goalkeepers abroad. He is the hottest American goalkeeper abroad. He's left off. And to be honest with you, I was a little surprised that he got left off, considering, 4 goalkeepers. but then again, these are friendlies. So I guess the most important name here was Diego Cochin. And, that's awesome because chances are pretty good he's going to get one of these two friendlies, which will automatically cap tie him to the U.S. So I guess in some context, that's exactly what you want because he actually might have the highest ceiling of any young American goalkeeper. And so you might as well, if he's the future, you might as well want to get the future started now. The other one, the other weird name was on this list, and we're going to get to the defenders right now. It was Marlon Fossey. And I got to be honest with you. I don't know anything really thing about Marlon Fossey. I think he plays in the Belgian Pro League. I haven't seen him enough outside of like a few highlights to really say one way or another. But that being said, Anthony Robinson was left off this as well too, and he's not hurt. They're just giving him rest. Him and Winston McKennie were left off because of rest. And so now you're going to have a situation where Marlon Fossey is potentially going to get minutes with these two, and Christopher Lund is a part of this as well too. And that was actually released, I think, about 24 hours prior to this officially being released. And so with Robinson out, Lund is in. You'll probably see him getting a lot of minutes at the left back position as well too. The other name on this list is Mark McKenzie. This week, he played a full 90, and wasn't fantastic, wasn't bad. He was, put in a workman-like 90, and he will be in this camp as well too. The other name is also Tim Ream, and that's not surprising considering, right now, when it comes to the central defense. For the U.S. men's national team, they don't really have a lot of experience, especially with left center backs being able to play out of the back. He's actually the best on the ball defender. And he's also very good, at least with our group, playing out of the back. This last weekend, he was with Charlotte, played a full 90, and he had 73 accurate passes. I mean, he just, he does what Tim Ream does, and he does it at a pretty significant level. So I'm not necessarily surprised. And don't be surprised if Tim Ream's name is going to keep on showing up on some of these rosters. This is not anything new with the U.S. men's national team. They always like to have that veteran center back in camp if they can. But notice that Walker Zimmerman's name wasn't a part of this list. And a lot of, MLS lifers were not a part of this. And I guess in some aspects, I mean, if you're anti-MLS, you'll probably like that. Or if you're a Euro, obviously you're either one or the other. You're like a Euro snob, or you're like me where both actually have significance. But it's weird. Like, as long as Tim Ream is playing and he's healthy and he's productive, there's a good chance that Tim Ream is going to stick around through 2026. He's even said it himself. So there it is. The next defender on this list is Chris Richards. And this last weekend, he played a full 90 for Crystal Palace. Didn't have a bad game. I didn't think it was the greatest performance in the world, but that being said, far better than the first two performances that he put in. So maybe that was just beginning of the season jitters. I thought Chris was pretty solid. The other name is going to be right back Joe Scally. And this weekend in the Bundesliga for that's the thing. I never could pronounce this team right. It's Glad Monchenbach. I can never pronounce it. Anyway, you know what team I'm talking about. He played a full 90 this weekend, 3 fouls. And he also had 57 accurate passes from the right back position. So I would obviously, with Serginho Dest out, he's going to be getting some minutes. The other name is Austin Trusty, who literally just moved from Sheffield United to the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. And this was kind of a head scratcher because, one of the things that I liked about Austin Trusty was the fact that he was playing in the championship. And he was also playing next to a really good veteran center back in a position that's, that is actually a position of need. He was playing at left center half. And, I saw him in the Carabao Cup, the opening Carabao Cup. He looked pretty solid. I think that was against Wrexham. And I saw him get a start last week against Josh Sargent's Norwich. And, Sargent scored. But that being said, overall, I thought his performance wasn't exactly all that terrible. And this was an opportunity for Trusty to play with a team that's going to be favored to move back up to the Premier League. They were there last year, and it was an opportunity to be a part of a promotion-winning campaign. Instead, he agrees to, personal terms with Celtic, and now he'll be playing in a backfield that involves Cameron Carter-Vickers, who, by the way, was left off this list. He is injured right now with like a toe injury. Kind of odd, but it is what it is. The last defender on this list is Caleb Wiley. This last week, he played 45 minutes, had an assist in a 4-3 loss to Lyon. That's not necessarily all that surprising, considering that Lyon's probably one of the better teams in the league. Strasbourg, isn't. So it is what it is. But so that is your defenders: Fossey, Lund, McKennie, Ream, Richard, Scally, Trusty, and Wiley. The defenders that were left off were obviously Cameron Carter-Vickers. As we turn to the midfielders, we got Brendan Aronson. And I actually like this one. Brendan Aronson with Leeds. This last weekend played a full 90. Got 2 shots off. Last week he scored, and the week before he scored as well too. So Brendan Aronson's actually started the season quite well, back with Leeds. And it's nice to see that, considering the way that he left that situation a couple years ago. So this call up to this camp is 100% earned, and I'm very happy to see him back in the fold with the U.S. men's national team. The next guy who is on this list is Johnny Cardozo, Real Betis. Let's see. He played 33 minutes this last week. In a 2-0 loss to Real Madrid. So, not all that surprising. But the other part of the story with Johnny Cardozo, he was a part of a deadline deal move with Tottenham Hotspur. And so this deal was working out where Tottenham has an agreement to buy him in the future for a flat fee of $25 million. And if they decide not to buy him outright, then they'll have an option of a sell-on clause of up to 15% if they decide not to buy him and he goes somewhere else. So either way, Tottenham wins. I actually have a very sneaking suspicion he's going to end up with the Lily Whites because one thing Tottenham likes and covets are very young players, and one position they desperately need some help is at the 6. Johnny Cardozo can definitely provide that for the Hotspur. And I'm really hoping he ends up in North London. That's just me. Now, here's the name that surprised the you-know-what out of me because it made absolutely no sense, was Luca De La Torre. He has not played at all so far in the early portion of the season. As a matter of fact, he's been on their transfer list looking for a way out. It didn't happen. And so who knows when Luca De La Torre is going to be back in the fold. For Celtic Vigo. I was going to say Real Betis. I just wanted to make sure that was correct. Celta Vigo. There was talk that he could end up back in Major League Soccer. Obviously, the expansion San Diego FC, there was heavy talk with him going back to his hometown. That didn't happen. MLS window shut. And there was still even some talk that maybe he might end up being a free agent and then he would end up in San Diego as a free. That did not happen. I have no idea why Luca De La Torre is on this list, but That being said, Tim Weah and Tyler Adams are also out injured. But I thought they could have went in a different direction, like Griffin Yao, who's had a very promising start to the season, or even Paxton Aronson, Brendan's brother. He's had a pretty good start to the season with FC Utrecht. Just to see that name on this list actually makes absolutely no sense to me, but congratulations, I guess. Aiden Morris, who's had a very good start to the season with Middlesbrough. As I mentioned earlier, they played Cardiff City, Ethan Horvath's side. This week, he did play a full 90, did get a yellow card, but the week before he scored. And, it's nice to see Aiden Morris make the transition from MLS to the championship and then hit the ground running. But then again, he already came in form. So it was like you already knew that at least that half the equation was already taken care of. The question was, how quick was he going to be integrated into the championship? And he's hit the ground running. And I actually believe that he's earned this right. Tanner Tessman was also left off this roster. A lot of it has to do with the fact that he hasn't had enough time. He has enough time to get antiquated or introduced with Lyon. Didn't necessarily have. Allegedly, U.S. Soccer said he didn't really have much of a preseason. But that being said, I thought he was also one of the brighter spots in the Olympics. So you be the judge. The other name was Yunus Musa. Word is that he is not going to be available for the Canada game. He's going to be coming in late. He probably will be available for the second game against New Zealand, but chances are pretty good that you won't see him on the pitch against Canada this last weekend. He only played 20 minutes in a 2-2 tie versus Lazio, and I think he had one shot on goal. So didn't necessarily get a lot of minutes this last week, but again, Yunus Musa plays a position, I guess you could say, of strength for the United States, and, he is one of the guys. The other name on the list is Gio Reyna, who we didn't get to it last week, but apparently he's back in the fold with Dortmund, and he's going to be taking the role of what's his bucket? The dude that just signed for the LA Galaxy. I can't think of his name right now. He's going to be taking that role for Dortmund, which means you're probably going to see him initially come off the bench, but eventually you're going to see him getting minutes. God, what's his name? That's going to drive me crazy. Marco Reus. Thank you. Marco Reus. He's going to be taking that role for Dortmund. So, but the crazy thing about it is he's been in training, and he's match fit. He's match ready to go. But the only thing that's been coming from the Dortmund side are a whole bunch of platitudes and a whole bunch of nice things to say about Gino. The only thing that we just haven't seen is game time yet, but he's in camp. Malik Tillman, also with the midfielders, played 86 minutes, got himself an assist this week for PSV, and a 3-0 win over the go-ahead Eagles. That's such a great name, by the way. I love Eredivisie team names. They have some of the coolest names ever in world soccer. But again, Blake Tillman having some good results in the early going for PSVs. As now we move to the forwards, and a name that I didn't think should have been included on this list, but of course, he was the starting striker for the during the Copa America this summer, and that's Florian Balogun. Did play this week, 65 minutes, 2 shots, no goals in a 1-1 draw with Lens, and now this is still carrying on for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a form issue. I don't know if it's an issue with his manager, or maybe it's just not a good fit at Monaco. Regardless, something is going on to the point where last week he didn't even see the field, and he's put in some minutes, and so far it has not manifested in anything. Meanwhile, Josh Sargent continues to rip it up in the championship. Speaking of Josh, he's on this list as well, too. Last week, 90 minutes, no goals. But then again, they were playing Haji Wright and Coventry City. Speaking of Haji, he's on this list as well, too. He did play 78 minutes before being subbed out. He got 2 shots, 2 real good looks at goal, but was denied. So, both Josh and Haji, that was actually a fun match to watch. If you have, if there's fans of the championship, Ricardo Pepi is on this list. He played 55 minutes this last weekend, 3 shots on goal, and but and this is the thing. The problem with Pepi is the fact that he's playing behind De Jong, the captain of PSV, and he's only getting, he's getting on the field, but he's not getting a lot of minutes. Last week he scored. This week, not so much. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how you can carry it, but it is what it is. We have a comment from the chat room. This is coming from Courtney Robinson. Welcome to the show, Court. But he's finally started to gel with the national team. Are you talking about Balogun? Yeah, I mean, what's funny is when you look back to the Panama game of the Copa America, I mean, he had the nice goal. I'm not going to take away some of the performances, but that being said, though, one of the biggest gripes that I had about Greg Berhalter was outside of the leadership committee, which was, I don't know, I think it was a dumb idea, but Berhalter continued to bring guys into camp that were either not playing or were playing sparingly. And when you bring in guys that are not in form, it generally carries over the field. And sometimes we had performances that, quite frankly, were not good. With the national team, you do want to bring in players that are in form. And this isn't tournament. These aren't tournaments. So this isn't Copa. This isn't Gold Cup. This isn't Nations League. This isn't Copa America or the World Cup, where you have a set starting 11. And by that time, everything has been fleshed out. And for a fact that the guys that are going to be on your roster are coming in form and ready to play. Or in the case of Tyler Adams, he is healthy. We found out after the fact that wasn't the case, but he was, again, never should have played, but he was one of Greg's guys. So the baseline has to be, are you playing, number one? And are you playing well? Because form matters. And I don't know how you feel about this upcoming friendly, but we're playing against Jesse Marsh, who's had, he's had some words to say, about the U.S. Soccer Federation. He's had some things to say about the player pool. And so it's not U.S.-Mexico, but this is also kind of a rivalry game now. This is kind of a rivalry match. And I don't know how you feel about it, but that being said, the guys that I want in camp are the guys that are in the best form right now. And it doesn't matter. It's a friendly. And so you can carry guys on the roster that otherwise wouldn't. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not finished with the national team. It just means that they have to either figure out what's wrong with their form or their club situation before you can bring them back into the team. And so if that means that Ballo stays home, whatever, right? I would rather carry Pepi. I would rather carry Pepi because at least he's playing. Now, he's not necessarily playing well, but at least he's got that over, Ballo, who last week didn't even see the field. And he's struggling with form. And I've been vocal that Josh Sargent is my guy. That dude hit the ground running the season in the championship. 3 goals in 3 games. This last week against Haji Wright's Coventry didn't score, but still. That dude is a man on fire. And the last forward to be put on this list, obviously, it's Captain America, Christian Pulisic. Last week, 90 minutes. This weekend, 90 minutes, 1 assist. So, obviously that is the roster. The ones that were injured were Tim Weah. He will be available after. The word is he'll be available after this international break. Because it was, I think it was just a slight little, like a hamstring tweak. He should be back. Tyler Adams obviously still recovering from surgery from the pounding he took at Copa America, a tournament he never should have played in. Cameron Carter-Vickers has got the toe injury, and Leonard Maloney is out injured. And from what I read, it seems like it's minor, but he'll be available for future call-ins. And of course, the big one to me is Gaga Slonina, just left off in favor of Matt Turner, who hasn't played. And I don't. For those who are just tuning in now, Winston McKennie and Anthony Robinson were left off for rest. And by the way, for those who watch the English Premier League a lot like me, Anthony Robinson had an absolute sweet assist this week. And coming down the left flank, it was a low laying screamer across the 6-yard box, and it hit Adama in stride. That thing was absolutely beautiful. And right now he is playing as one of a top 3 left back in the English Premier League right now. And I know that the buddies over there at American Ultras has already called for him moving to a better team in the Premier League. Just saying, Tottenham Hotspur. Just saying. Would love it. But there it is. There is your roster for this upcoming friendly. I'm curious to see how you guys feel about this, because there are some head scratchers on this one. There's also some names that you probably would expect. You can go ahead and leave them down in the comment section. We should be in a position where come the 7th, we're probably going to live stream that match as well too. That should be fun. And then also on this channel, stay tuned for some content, because we're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff with the national team. And we're also going to be doing some content with Major League Soccer. And we might be in line for members of the national team, former members of the national team to come on. All that good stuff is coming up in the future. So stay tuned. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. But yeah, that's it. Just to recap real quick, I like some of the names. There are some great names on this that absolutely deserve to be here. Diego coaching again. I like the fact that they're going to cap tie him, and it makes a lot of sense. For me, carrying 4 goalkeepers makes absolutely no sense, especially because you also brought in Schulte. So you should only carry either Horvath or Turner. And, whatever, man. I mean, to me, they're both equally mid at best. But at least Horvath has been playing. And he also is that veteran backup, was a part of the World Cup team, was a part of Copa America. Well, he was a part of Copa America. But you only needed to carry 1. So, 4 goalkeepers. And, you could have used that extra spot to carry an extra midfielder if you really wanted to go that way. Obviously, not having Paxton on this roster, or Griffin Yao, kind of breaks my heart a little bit. And especially Luca De La Torre. That actually makes no sense. Let's see. What do we got here? Again, Courtney Robinson. I'm happy to see Wiley seems to be fitting into his new team. Yeah. Hope he continues to get better and more playing time. I'm with you, man. He had a nice little weekend, man. Even in a 4-3 loss to Lyon, 45 minutes with an assist. I'll say this, right? Because Ligue 1 is it's top heavy, man. It really is, right? PSG, Lyon, Olympique Marseille, Monaco, maybe if you want to put them up there. But for the most part, it's top heavy. The way I look at Ligue 1 is that, outside of maybe 3 teams, most clubs in the French First Division are struggling financially. A lot of them are losing money, and a lot of it had to do with the TV deal that was promised. It didn't necessarily playing out the way everybody thought it was. And the only one that really benefits is PSG. The rest of them were kind of left twisting in the wind. And so as a result, a lot of teams aren't spending money as they thought they would. So depth is an issue. So a lot of teams will do what Strasbourg is doing. Instead of actually bringing in guys on transfer fees for any nominal money, what they'll end up doing is taking free transfers, or they'll go the loan way. Caleb Wiley was definitely the loan, and he's worked out, man. He's worked out. So yeah, I'm happy to see that as well too. So all right, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. This has been fun. And again, stay tuned to the channel. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. And we should be back later this week with some content. And we have some things set up as far as, players go, as well as also members of the Federation and CONCACAF are going to be set up as well too. So that should be interesting. I'm kind of curious though, because I don't know how you guys feel, but I've always thought that the U.S. would probably be benefited not dunning Canada, Jamaica, Martinique, Puerto Rico. Like, it does nothing for the betterment of the program. I always liked the idea back when Jurgen Klinsmann was in charge. He wanted to go down to Common Bowl. He wanted to routinely play Uruguay, Colombia, Brazil, Argentina. And, that was obviously that was quickly put the kibosh, because obviously the U.S. Soccer Federation makes a tremendous amount of money playing, Mexico. Like, that is, that's their gravy, which is why you always see, that's why you always see the Mexican national team playing home games in LA. There's a reason for that, but there also sometimes you'll see the U.S. men's national team playing down in that Southern California corridor. There's a reason why the U.S. will never leave CONCACAF. But here's Mateo. Good as science. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, Mateo. Thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate it. Well, that's going to do it for me. Again, leave your tell me how you feel about this roster for this upcoming cycle of friendlies. Leave them in the comment section, and remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks everybody for stopping by, and we'll see you soon. Take care, man. Have a great night.